Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and once again we have with us Dr. Robert Hoffman. Robert, welcome to the show.
Well, always really great to be on your show.
You know, we have conversation, at our Sunday Zoom call, and sometimes, you've been accompanying me to Dr. Song's appointments, and we talk a little more. And there's just so much to talk about with regards to this subject of, cancer and research, finding answers, patients being an advocate, and all of these things that we talk about.
Correct treatment.
Yeah. And each time that we have a Zoom call, it seems like we get really some interesting and noteworthy topics. And, we were talking about this last week. We were talking about some people that were working with the diet and not staying with it, and some of the problems that come from that. And one of the things that we talked about, and it kind of caught me off guard a little bit, because one of our members of the call is a guy been around for a long time. He's been keeping his cancer at bay for 17 years. And we're talking about a supplement that some of the clients have worked with, and turns out it can have some really nasty side effects and even toxic levels. And all of a sudden he started talking about, fingernails falling out, and didn't bother to mention this before. And I was like, whoa, that's a giant red flag. And we were
Toenails too.
Yeah, we're talking about this, and it's like, people need to realize that because something is quote unquote natural, or quote unquote herbal, or quote unquote mineral, or somebody gets on an infomercial and tells you all about how it's helped all these people, or a guy writes a book about how he cured his cancer, none of that means anything necessarily. It could, but it doesn't necessarily mean anything. And one of the things that we talk about a lot on this show over and over again is evidence-based research and peer-reviewed studies. And there's reasons for that. A lot of the times, and I see this happen everywhere I go, in all aspects of life, not just with the cancer world, people will either be looking for a thing, and then they'll notice a thing, and they will see the thing they're looking for. Or they will do one thing and experience another thing, and they will assume they'll assume that because they did the one thing, the other thing happened. And those are like major problems with real life and truth and science. Is that not true?
Yeah. One of the great people on our Sunday call, he was a surgeon for 32 years, Dr. Exame.
Oh, yeah.
He emphasized levels of evidence. Okay.
Right.
You start with hearsay. Hey, Peter over there told me this. Must be good. Then you can go up a little bit more. There'd be some, let's say something comes from the literature that maybe is consistent with something that they're saying. That's number two. Number three would be a direct experiment.
Right.
Even in vitro, that shows that confirms what the person is claiming.
Can you explain for the audience, because we get all levels of listeners, and what does in vitro mean?
Literally, it means in glass. It's
Okay.
Latin glass. So in the old days, we used to do cell culture in glass. Now we do it in plastic. I don't know the Latin for plastic.
I don't know if there is one.
Right. So it's in glass. You do it in a dish in a lab. And
Okay.
with science, you're growing the cancer cells, you're testing the drug. great. But we can learn something. It's good science, but it's still not even a mouse.
That's you.
So, so the next level, we do it in a mouse. Good. But the mouse is not a human.
Right.
It's genetically, it's about 95%, but okay. You wouldn't realize it, but so, and then the next level would be maybe like a phase 1 clinical trial where we're not looking for efficacy, but we may find it. And then next level would be a phase 2 trial where we're comparing the results to let's say we're testing drug C, we compare it to drug A, which has been published and used. So it's a kind of like a historical control. And the next level of evidence would be a randomized phase 3 trial, where you get one set of patients on the drug, another patient not on the drug, and they're not supposed to know it.
Right.
And
Not even people that are delivering the drug are supposed to know it.
yeah.
Nobody knows it. Yeah.
There's like 6 levels of evidence.
Right.
Willie next door. That's just bull scatter. It's just not, and there's too much of that.
It's a lot of it.
Yeah. So this is an issue. Levels of evidence. So somebody says something, okay, pal, what's the level of evidence?
Right.
This is we need to know that before we can kind of get, as we go up the level, we get more evidence. We have a lot of evidence on the sort of third step in vitro with ivermectin combined with methionine, looks very effective in combination.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't even done it yet in a mouse. So,
Right.
okay. I mean, we got to say what it is. Now,
Right.
let's go back to what the patient revealed yesterday or Sunday or whenever it was. Taking this, I wouldn't even call it a supplement. It's a chemical. It's
There
called
you go.
sodium selenite.
Right.
And in Pennsylvania, it's on a hazardous materials list. You got to pack it in you can't throw it out. It has to be picked up by the hazmat man.
Wow.
So what does that tell you? And so apparently this patient, along with many others, I guess, have been taking very large amounts of this material. They've been told to do it, and they've been poisoned. And if you go on the internet, you go on AI, and you see in 5 seconds, when your fingernails turn the color, they fall out, the toenails, the hair falls out. That's selenite poisoning. So, and if it's doing that to your nails, or your hair, what's it doing to your liver? So
Yeah.
I say this, you want to give that out, you want to sell it. Isn't it ethical to tell what the bad things it could do? For example, okay, I'm considering on going on Keytruda, like you.
Right.
Okay, there's an ad for Keytruda in the New England Journal of Medicine.
Right.
First page, all slick, tells you all the great things it does.
Right.
Page after page after page of every possible side effect that
Yeah, and there's a lot of them.
ever be. It's all declared in there.
Yeah.
That's what the FDA makes you do. So when you're doing a non-FDA thing, which is a supplement, there's certain rules. You're not supposed to claim efficacy. Third party can claim, but you kind of have to go by ethics and morals.
Right.
People, hey, wait a minute, when you're taking this, some bad things may happen.
Yeah.
Better know about it now.
Right.
So giving somebody a toxic chemical, let's say like probably the level of cisplatinum or docetaxel or worse,
Which is pretty darn toxic. I know. I was taking them.
been tested. I don't know what the level of evidence is. It's maybe 3, I don't know, 4, maybe some animal. And not telling the patient, here's a list of what could happen. I don't think it'll happen to you, but here's what could happen. and
Right.
be aware. And if you your nails start doing this and that, and you better get off it.
Right.
But okay, they don't do that. And so this is an issue. So, I mean, we're talking about levels of evidence, and we're also talking about disclosure.
Right. Well, when you're doing something that's theoretically dangerous, like chemotherapy, you're aware of what these side effects are likely to be,
So many clinical trials,
and
$1
you
billion
can,
has been spent on it.
right, and you can prepare for it, and
Yeah,
they're
and
going
you
to
have a
dose
professional
you,
giving it to you. You have a physician
right?
giving it to you. Something
Yeah,
happens to you, he's trained to take care of you.
right, exactly. And you're not just taking pills at whatever random amount that you're taking. You're having a very specific dose administered in a very specific
By
way.
a very professional person who's
Yeah,
got patience.
right. Yeah, it's a big difference. A big difference. And I think that's really important for people to realize because, I've been around the block both in my herbal studies that go back 40 years to my 2 years of studying cancer and all of that. I was my own lab rat. I mean, I experimented. I injected myself with cannabis oil at one point to see if maybe that would answer, but it didn't do well. And I says, well, I did a little spot on my arm and it got all weird. I go, I'm not putting that in the tumor. I don't trust it. So these are things that I was willing to take a little chance, but when I started taking that sodium selenite, and I was part of that group that was talking about it, it never was mentioned that it was possibly dangerous. They talked about, this ferroptosis and all these things that it did, and all these anecdotal stories of people that were keeping cancer gone. But when I did my own research, I came up with some things that were troubling. And then I went to you and you gave me some more troubling information. And I said, wow, I need to not be taking that anymore. And I took a whole bottle that I had just bought and I put it away. I said, I'm not taking that anymore. And it was the evidence that I saw that told me it wasn't worth the risk. Even if it might work, it wasn't worth the risk. And not everything is.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a personal decision.
Right.
Uh,
100%.
Absolutely personal decision. But I mean, when the patient is in the hospital and you want to use some of her tissue or blood, they have to sign a form.
Right.
Form is called informed consent. It
Correct.
isn't sign here, pal. It's,
Right.
this is this and this and this and this and this. And you still okay? Okay. Then please sign.
All right.
Called informed consent.
And that's huge. It's I know, in 40 years of working with these herbs that I've been working with, I've met a few people along the way that ran into serious trouble because people think, oh, it's natural, so I can take all I want. And nothing's further from the truth. Natural ingredients have the same chemicals in them than the pharmaceutical chemicals do. They're just in different proportions, but they're the same chemicals. They're just as dangerous. Yeah. And I know people that have had liver damage, kidney damage, irreparable damage just from taking supplements. And they were like, I never took a single pharmaceutical.
Supplements. It's in a gray world.
Right.
And some people might say, hey, there ain't no such thing. Everything should be regulated by the FDA. But that's so much trouble, so few things you can do.
Right.
So it's a gray world. And
Right.
and some people take advantage of that.
Hi, this is Joe Grumbine, and I wanted to share an update. The platform that hosts this podcast has made some changes to the subscriber settings, and we have a number of subscriber-only episodes that we offer to the supporters. And for a minimum of $3 a month, we can get you signed up. And if you're already signed up and you're having some kind of trouble locating these episodes in the other platforms, I would say maybe the best answer is to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I'm sorry for the hassle. I don't have any way to make a change, but I'm very grateful for all the support. Thank you.
I think a point is, like, I have a lot of different guests on the show, and some are, researchers like you who are trying to solve a problem in a real way. Many of them are people like me who have experiences, and we're sharing our experience. I'm never selling you anything on this show. And sometimes we have people who run a company and they're talk about their company and they're pitching the virtues of the company. I try to be very careful. I don't really let anybody come on and make medical claims about any product because I don't know what their level of evidence is.
Good.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, it's their own product, and it's going out as a supplement. That's disobeying the rules of the FDA.
exactly. So I'm very careful. I let people talk about their products, but we don't get to tell people that this product is going to help you in a particular way, and it's not harmful. It's important. I think it's important that everybody has the freedom to choose what they want to do. And I love that the information out there is so much that you could experiment on yourself the way I did. I mean, I made chlorine dioxide. I made
Freedom too, Joe. You go down to Tijuana,
right.
you go to any drugstore. There's a particular one I like. It's called muy bata or mi barata. It means more cheap. And almost everything you can get is over the counter.
Right.
That are not over the counter, you go upstairs to a doc, you pay him $5, and he prescribes it to you.
Yeah.
So you might say, ooh, bad.
Right.
I get that, but I
Yeah.
say, ooh, good. I can get what I want.
Right.
The buyer beware.
That's it. Correct.
There's not really, Mexico doesn't have an FDA. And you might say, ooh, that's bad. But other people will say, we trust our doctors.
Right. You don't hear of huge amounts of overdose.
The FDA, I think, is good, but when it's overreaching, it's not so good. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm glad I live near Mexico.
The best of both worlds. You got all the regulation here if that's what you want, but you can go right. In fact, you and I should go on a day trip one time and head down there. I can get some ivermectin.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, maybe in the next month or two. We'll let it cool off a little bit. It's pretty hot down there right now.
Well, it takes 3 or 4 hours to get back.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go when it cools off a bit.
A medical pass.
Yeah.
You can go in a good lane. I don't know. Anyway, we got to talk and get those Zavala brothers back on board, whatever.
Yeah.
So, like that. So, yeah, there's where we are. So that was one of the things. I've been very troubled recently by patients. I have 2 patients now that got cancer surgery. If I would have known about it, I would have argued, don't do it.
Yeah.
And they got it. And the cancer came back much worse than it was before the surgery. That's so troublesome for me.
I agree.
Talk about not informing the patient.
Right.
Those surgeons and the medical oncologists know it's going to recur in most cases. And not only it's going to recur, it's going to be much worse. But the patient, and there's this one poor man in Finland, such a nice man. He took chemo, he took methionase, he did everything good. to shrink his pancreatic cancer. Neoadjuvant. Joe, you're the world's expert on neoadjuvant.
I love that word. Yep.
Doing good, shrinking.
Yeah.
You know, what do? We go to Germany and we get the surgery. And within a couple months, the tumor's all over his abdomen.
Wow.
It's just, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
Then there's this other fella. He had a tiny little tumor or whatever that was apparently removed by colonoscopy.
Uh-huh.
Hey, enough already.
Right.
But no, we had to have a colectomy. They took out a couple feet of
Right. Yeah, they took a chunk of his colon out.
well, that's normal. And oh yeah, man. I mean, we got so much colon. I mean, there's no way it's gonna come back.
Yeah.
So far away from the original tumor. There's no way.
Yeah.
And it came back with such vengeance.
Yeah. And that's what seems to happen when it comes back.
And this poor guy for totally unnecessary oncological surgery. I mean, if you're shrinking the tumor, you're shrinking the tumor. Why
Let it go? Yeah.
let it keep shrinking?
Right. Why would you stop that process? I'm still blown away.
On shrinking and see how far you can go.
Right. Yeah, and if it stops responding, then you look at something else. I mean, that was what.
And to go under the knife has such danger. I'm not saying, oh, you can't do any cancer surgery. That's stupid.
Right.
Times when you're obstructed or whatever, or it's
A million reasons not to do it, and there's a few reasons to do it.
You can't function, whatever. I mean, there's good reasons to do oncological surgery. Absolutely.
Sure. Right.
But if you don't gotta do it, don't do it, because
Right.
there's such a huge probability that it's going to recur and become a different. It recurs at a different level.
Now,
Or
explain to me, like in my studies and my research, it seemed to me that when you go and you start cutting into a cancerous tumor, you're severely disrupting the environment, and you're creating an environment where it can release a lot of cells into your bloodstream and they can move around. But when you're talking about the guy who had a chunk of his colon taken out, that was
Joe, we should avoid at all costs cutting the tumor.
agreed. Okay.
Sometimes that happens, and like you said, all those things could happen. But what we need to do is why does surgery sometimes, maybe a lot of times, stimulate the cancer? Well, after surgery, the body goes into this healing phase, right? All these growth factors, the body has to grow back
Right.
all the stuff that was cut around.
Mm-hmm.
So all those growth factors, whatever, they're stimulating the cancer too, because you never get it all out.
Right.
I got it all out. Oh yeah. And so whatever's left gets so stimulated, and they apparently in many instances can go to they get upgraded, they get to a higher grade.
Wow.
And so this is a huge risk. So I mean, neoadjuvant chemo, I mean, it's
I couldn't agree more. I would.
not to lose. Try it.
Yeah.
Go as hard as you can. And, take whatever else you think is going to help you out. Anyway, I wanted to tell you, these two patients I'm very troubled by.
I had two experiences with surgeons, and both of them, looking back, were extremely troubling. The first one was the ENT who diagnosed me as having cancer, or he suggested that he thought I did. But he said, the only way we're going to know is if I do a biopsy. There's no other way to know for sure. And that's it.
Surgery is surgery.
I know. But the biopsy that I took was a chunk. He went in and took a chunk out. And the reason why he did that was because I wanted to make sure we had enough tissue that we could study it, we could know for sure. But I told him what my concerns were, just what you were saying. I said, I am deeply concerned that when you disrupt this tumor, it's going to cause it to spread. And I don't want that. He says, there is no evidence in the world that would suggest that. I says, well, what about all the people who had surgery and then their cancer spread shortly after? He says, how do we know it wouldn't have spread anyways? And that's what he said to me.
I didn't get the last sentence. What?
He said, how do we know it wouldn't have spread anyways? And I was taken aback by that.
This guy's he's a nutcase.
I told him he was a total jerk. He was not a good guy.
He's telling the truth, but he's a nutcase.
And then the second surgeon,
you're lucky.
right?
Out of there was very dangerous.
I know, and I was concerned.
A fine needle, that's enough for the diagnosis. Just remember that.
Well, hopefully I'll never have to deal with that again. But
yes,
I went against my better judgment when I had that tumor biopsied that way. But I believe that it would give
not a cancer. Oh no, that's not a cancer.
Yeah,
a guy like you can't get a cancer.
That was it. Yeah, that was the first doctor. I had a whole load of great doctors. So then when I went to UCI, the first oncologist I saw was a surgical oncologist. And what he said,
first in line.
Yeah, he was the first one. And so the first thing he said to me was, well, your tumor's too big to operate on as it is, because we'll send a robot up there and we'll start taking all the tissue out, but it's likely we're not going to get it all. He told me that straight up.
He was an honest man.
Yes. So then he said, well, we're going to give you some radiation and chemo first, and we'll shrink it down, and then we'll go in with our robot and we'll get it. And I said to him even then,
pancreatic cancer patient.
Right. I said to him even then, I said, so given where this tumor is, and it was right there in a highway of nerves and blood vessels and lymphatic tissue, and everything is right there in your neck. And I said, there's no way you're going to get it all out. It's not like, why would you even? And he said, that's what we do. That's.
That was an honest answer too. That's the guideline.
Yeah.
You give chemo and radiation because your tumor is not resectable. Then after chemo and radiation, we're going to resect it. And then when it comes back, it's tough shit.
Yes.
Sorry for the.
No, it's true.
So, jeez. So, I say so many times, the enemy of the cancer patient's the oncologist.
I'm telling you. Unless he's Dr. Song.
And, you have Dr. Song. He's a saint.
Yes.
He's a million. Anyway.
Dr. Castro's helping a lot of people as well.
Dr. Exame.
Dr. Exame, yeah.
We've met a few of the saints.
Yes.
But the rest of them, they mean well.
Right.
So ignorant.
Yes. Well, what's your advice to the person who's dealing with cancer, whether it's themselves or a loved one, as to how to navigate this? Because these people, they get told by doctors, the very doctor that they're supposed to trust, they're getting told to do a thing that's not correct.
Hang on 1 second, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spam. Okay, so I don't know what to tell people. If they're local, go see Dr. Song. Go see Dr. Castro, for gosh sake. Get a opinion. And in Japan, we tell everybody, go see Dr. Sato or go see Professor Tsunoda.
Yes.
Get a second opinion.
Yes, or a third or a fourth.
Ooh. And I know those people will give a great second opinion.
Come on to the 4:00 Sunday call and talk about what they told you, and get 15 or 20 opinions from people who have been through it and survived.
Yeah. Well, you're talking to most of the people on that call have got a lot of opinions, and they're surviving.
Exactly. And they've done a lot of research and they've experimented on themselves.
So diligent. Joe, can we maybe start winding down a little bit?
Yeah. No, actually, that was really what I wanted to get to, was that message to the listener.
I mean, this is so, what we're talking about is so life on the line information. Life on the line.
It is, absolutely. Well, Robert, I appreciate so much your passion with the work that you're doing. And, I think if we do these episodes and we reach even one person that goes, wow, you know what, maybe I should think again.
Well, Joe, you're doing God's work.
I am. And so are you.
God's work.
Yeah.
And it says you save one person, you save the world.
I love that. Well, we're going to keep going down this road. We're going to save as many people as we can along their way. And I want to thank you for joining us today, as always.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you for having me on.
You bet. Well, this has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and I want to thank all the listeners for making this show possible. And we will see you next time.
This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.